Australia started day 4 of the Perth Test match with a lead of 175 runs. Now that lead has been pushed to 233 runs and it's looking rather dangerous for the Indian team at the moment considering the nature of the pitch. Australia there 190 for 4. Usman Khawaja 67 not out. Giving him company on the crease is the skipper in Tim Paine. Both of them have gone past the 50 run mark as far as their partnership is concerned. You are watching ESPN Cricinfo Matchday, brought to you by Maruti Suzuki. Joining me, Murali Kartik, VVS Laxman, Damien Martyn and Melinda Farrell joins us live from right outside the Optus Stadium. Melinda, I know we're all enjoying an absorbing test match, but I believe there's another match happening between Virat Kohli and Tim Paine. Who's winning that one?
I'm not sure who's winning it at the moment. It certainly has been developing. I mean, I think since the two went off last night and they had a bit of a word as they left the pitch, and we've seen umpire Gaffney sort of getting between the two captains today and just telling them to stop chatting. Tim Paine was saying, well, there's no swearing being used. There's nothing wrong with the chat. We also saw them kind of in each other's path a little bit there, and they didn't quite have a chest bump, but it was a fairly close meeting. I think if I was any opposing captain, I would absolutely be trying to push Australia's buttons just because of the difficult position they're in, the way their behaviour is being scrutinised since Newlands. And I think Tim Paine's just going to have to be really careful because he's going to be scrutinised so much. So I can't blame Virat Kohli for pushing his buttons, but at some point it wouldn't surprise me also where Tim Paine might also kind of say, well, enough's enough. So it's brewing a little bit. It's felt like in the last day in particular, as this test has gone on, it's just kind of spicing up a little bit perhaps.
Okay, as someone who's got a lot of experience getting a lot of wickets as well as scoring runs, also a lot of experience with a bit of a banter on the cricket field. If you're going to have some sort of a banter, as Melinda was saying, you wouldn't mind pushing the opposition captain's button, reminding him, listen, you're trailing 1-0.
Yeah, of course, you have to. And that's how the game is played. I understand the code of conduct. As long as you're not pushing that and possibly going past a few things, I'm pretty sure that you don't want to play a mute game. The fun is in the banter. If you can have the odd chirp, get under somebody's skin without getting too personal, I think I'm all for it. Otherwise, it just looks like puppets, a puppetry show. It's not a puppetry show. It's a game of cricket where there's a lot of passion involved. You're playing for your country, and the odd jibe within reasonable levels is always acceptable. Otherwise, it's boring.
Yeah, it's intelligent as well, as Virat Kohli was reminding Tim Paine, listen buddy, if you will lose this match, you will trail 2-0, and then Tim Paine telling him in return that, listen, you got to bat first on this particular track. Okay, Melinda, one quick word on Aaron Finch. I believe it was all clear by the doctors. If need be, is he going to come out to bat?
Well, I think if need be, he will. At the moment, this lead's looking pretty good, and there's still quite a bit of batting in Australia's tail. So I do think if they have the opportunity to give him more time to recover and allow that finger to heal, it wouldn't surprise me if they did. But he's there and he's ready to go. I mean, it is the third knock he's received on that finger so far this summer, so it's not great, but the fact that he hasn't actually broken it is certainly good for Australia, you would imagine, as the series goes on.
Okay, if need be, that was the operating word. Damien, where Australia stand at the moment, would you say, a lead of 233, they wouldn't require Aaron Finch at the moment?
Well, no, but I mean, I guess he's padded up next, isn't he, ready to go in? So, look, it's a good lead, 230 odd at the moment on that wicket. It's been slow going, but look, seeing him there dressed up with the pads on, and I know Justin Langer as coach will probably say, we've got to win this test match. It's going to hurt a bit, that finger, but let's get out there and try and build another partnership and get some runs. Because I think they get to 300 plus, then India are going to chase that down.
It hasn't been the kind of morning India were expecting.
Yeah, I think they have to blame themselves. While the scoring rate hasn't been great, close to 2 runs per over, I thought they didn't bowl too many balls on the stumps. When you see the cracks on the wicket, it's more in front of the batsman. It's not outside the off stump, but it's more on the off and middle stump. So I think the more number of deliveries they would have probably made them play, it would have given them more chances. You allowed the 2 Australian batsmen to settle down because on this wicket, the more deliveries you leave, it becomes easier for the batsmen to settle down. But having said that, you can't take anything away from Tim Paine and Usman Khawaja for the determination they showed, because they didn't go out and play flamboyant shot. They were ready to occupy the crease, play with patience and fight it out. And that's also will be a template for Team India when they come and chase down this total.
Okay, just reiterating what VVS Laxman has said, that the cracks are right there in the centre, so you've got to bowl wicket to wicket sort of a line if you need some wickets here by the Indian bowlers. And let's take a look at how the Indian bowlers have performed. Why is it that they haven't been able to pick up a wicket in that first session? Remember, Tim Paine, Usman Khawaja, they were not out from the night before and have come out and played rather well. For Usman Khawaja especially, it's been an inning that was much needed. Till we'll wait for the stat to come on, but just reiterating what he was saying on that particular thing, is that also the reason that they haven't been able to get a lot of runs, Australia? Because Indians have been happy not giving away runs and bowling those lines.
I think it's a cat and mouse game. India are trying to restrict, and that's one way of doing it. But have we come and hit the wicket hard enough? Because if I didn't see, to be very honest, except for the odd one which kept low to Usman Khawaja, the wicket hasn't misbehaved, so to say, today. Like what was happening yesterday, I don't think the wicket has misbehaved. But I think the bowlers are also possibly tired because the speeds were down. The speeds were down for Shami, the speeds were down for Ishant and Umesh Yadav. So that's been the feature. If you're not hitting the stumps and bowling slightly outside, and with the patience which the other two have shown, it's just a question of getting it past India, and that's been the determination which the other two batsmen have shown.
Okay, interesting that Kartik here says the pitch hasn't misbehaved. Let me get Damien's thought on that. We did see a lot of variable balls, plenty of balls staying low in that first hour or the hour and a half or so of this match. How are you seeing the pitch play out?
Well, I think yesterday we saw it was the new ball as well, wasn't it? I think a new ball on this wicket is definitely going to be exaggerated more by the cracks and the hard balls. As it gets softer, the cracks are there. We've seen a bit up and down. We've seen a couple almost fly over the keeper's head, with the bounces. So it is there still. But as Laxman said, maybe the lines weren't right. I think you've got to attack the stumps. They bowled wide above stump, and the Australian batsmen had time to leave the ball, face a lot of deliveries. Because really for Australia at the moment, there's no rush. They can say we can bat to tea, we can bat after tea, and we'll back ourselves tomorrow on the last day to bowl you out. So I think it's more of changing the game plans, maybe going straighter and fuller and making them hit the ball. And if they miss, your LBWs and Nicks go behind and bowls.
Okay, for those of you watching us on YouTube or Facebook, do send in your question. We've already got one question, and since we're talking about the Indian fast bowlers, here is a question on Indian fast bowler. I'll let VVS take this one. It was difficult to understand what happened to the pace of Indian pacers. None of them were clocking 140 except occasionally Bumrah, something what Kartik.
Yeah, I think it boils down to the workload. But what was surprising was Umesh Yadav. Cannot complain about the workload. We talked extensively last night about Umesh Yadav. He didn't find his rhythm. But with Ishant Sharma and Shami, you felt that they were a little tired, especially Ishant Sharma. The first 2 or 3 overs of Ishant Sharma was wavered, off target, because on this wicket, all you do in your first 2-3 overs is to attack the batsman and create an impact. Unfortunately, it didn't happen with Ishant Sharma. I thought Shami was decent, as was Bumrah. The opening spell was decent as far as the pace was concerned, but Ishant Sharma and Umesh Yadav were definitely not having that rhythm, what they should have had.
He talks about the workload. Now, do you also fire yourself up if you were a fast bowler that we will have a long gap after this, so let me just give it my all?
You do, but sometimes the body also has to allow. It shouldn't be that you fire yourself up so much that you can't even make use of those 6 days which are there. No, I don't know what it is. To be very honest, the speeds were definitely down, and sometimes even if you egg yourself, even if you G yourself up to do something, you need. Sometimes the fast bowlers bowl well only because of rhythm, or bowl quickly because of rhythm. It's not about the effort. So it's I don't know what it is, but definitely.
Okay. And rhythm comes, Kartik, as a fast bowler or a bowler, is when your body is allowing allowing the way. For fast bowler, it's the way you run in.
Okay.
And you could see the way Ishant Sharma was running in. You could see the way Umesh Yadav has been running in this test match. And there's no doubt that we've been talking so much about Ishant Sharma's wrist position, the way he's holding his action. But because he's tired, I think even his wrist position was not very upright, and because of that he was not able to hit the length consistently, and that's why he was back to the old Ishant Sharma we used to see, angling away from the left-handers but not allowing them to play more deliveries.
It's interesting, Damien, because we're talking about Indian fast bowlers and the workload, the heat in Australia. But I'm just looking at the pace delivered by the Australian pacers. It's completely opposite for them. First test match, let's take Mitchell Starc, for example. First test match wasn't at his quickest. He's also bowled roughly around the same overs that probably an Ishant Sharma or Mohammad Shami have. Yet now he's reaching sometimes, late 150 clicks as well.
Yeah, I think in the first test match, Mitchell Starc was probably not at his best, as people have been commenting on. So he's probably come out this one and tried to bowl a bit quicker or get his rhythm back. As for the Indian bowlers of their pace, I mean, it's a hard one to tell, isn't it, from where we are, unless you're inside that circle talking to them. Is it fitness? Is it just tiredness? Is it just today? Is it today they just feel, it's just hard work today, that their bodies aren't backing up? I know they're back-to-back test matches, but I think at this day and age and professionalism and how fit these guys are, I think they know that. They know they can handle that they've come into this series realising the schedule. So I am surprised, and there must be some reason, but whether we'll find out, we'll never know, I suppose.
Okay, I'm taking a look at a lot of questions that are coming in on YouTube. Most of those questions are with regards to, could India have gone in with a spinner? Should the team selection have been different? I'm not going to take those questions. We've answered enough of that in our program. But we've got a question on Australia's batting. This has come via Facebook, and Mike Grace wants to know, has Australia slightly missed a trick by not pushing the scoring rate a little harder with the old ball? This is something we spoke about. Damien, I'll let you answer this one.
Yeah, it's a hard one, isn't it? I think they batted really well at the start. I think they would have realised the game plan of India would have been come out strong and positive and try and knock Australia over in that first hour or before lunch. And I know we only probably scored 10 runs or 12 runs off the first 8 overs or so, but we had to sort of blunt that attack and also put it back on India's, because their language, their body language would have been up and positive. And now it starts to drop off a bit when they haven't got a wicket. The runs keep creeping up their run chase. So I think they've done really well. I think maybe there'll be a different approach after lunch. Depending on what Payne and Langer want. Maybe they'll come out and say, be more positive, let's push. But I think they're in no rush. I mean, they can bat to after tea if they wanted and still have enough time to bowl India out.
Yes, there is enough time. Of course, there are those that feel that we should have 4-day test matches, but I'm just looking back at the Ashes series that happened in Australia, the first test match in Adelaide, where Perth is heading. Don't think 4-day test matches will bring you a result. Okay, we're talking about Australian batting at the moment and their scoring rate, but let's just see how they've played. Did they leave a lot of balls? Did they defend a lot of balls? Did they play some strokes? And there you have it. They defended 37%, left alone 34%, and then those are your flick shots is the ones that got them the most amount of runs, and then the other shot at 15%. But then, VVS, this is a classical test match, and this is what you expect out of the match.
Not the situation Team India is in, and not the conditions which are on offer. Yes, it didn't misbehave so much, but there were a lot of balls which were keeping low.
Yeah.
And the reason it didn't misbehave too much is the deliveries were outside off stump. If you can see, 34% in 29-30 overs is a lot. So ideally you wanted them to defend a lot more deliveries than leave deliveries, and that's something which is in the control of the bowlers, and I think that's where I felt that they bowled too many deliveries outside the off stump, because on this wicket, even if it's just fractionally outside the off stump, the batsmen should be leaving the wicket, because the more balls they play, the more susceptible they will be to get or lose their wicket. So I thought that percentage of leaving the delivery should have been less.
Who then tells those bowlers? Sometimes when you're in the middle of the action, you may not realize. As he's saying, maybe the first innings would have been good to bowl, outside that off stump. Now you need to bowl stump to stump line. Who tells them? Someone from the backroom staff needs to tell them you've got to change your line.
Yeah, of course. I think there are enough people that were watching it. And at the end of the day, it's just going to take 2 minutes to send the message across, because people are downstairs sitting there, and you can always walk around to the bowlers who are standing at fine leg or wherever they are. And even as a keeper, sometimes that this is what we spoke about and this is what the bowlers are doing. So Rishabh Pant is giving enough advice to Hanuma Vihari. If it was discussed amongst everybody in the team meeting, on the bowling meeting, which I feel a keeper should always be part of, I think he's the first man who can immediately say, look guys, we're not bowling, we're not hitting those lines, we're not hitting those lengths, so let's just get our act together. So I don't think it's such a big thing.
Currently, the keeper is busy advising the Australian batsmen how to bat, but maybe as the play progresses, he'll have some advice for the bowlers as well. We've got a question now, and this is on Australian batting, especially that man who's been instrumental in taking Australia as far as that they have, Usman Khawaja. What do you think about the Khawaja comeback? Do you think he is back in form? Damien, would you like to take that?
Form, it's a funny thing in this test cricket. In one moment you're out of it by a few no scores. But look, I think he's batted really well here. This is a tough wicket, and we've seen that. Only one man's made 100. That's Kohli, one of the best in the world. So all of a sudden now he's 67 not out. He's applied himself. As we've heard, he's left a lot of balls. And that's the reason. He's made them bowl at him. And without that, he's put the other strokes away. So also now he has the talent now, as we all know, to go after lunch and also up the scoring. But this will give him huge confidence. As I said, it's not a good wicket. You're not batting on a nice flat, maybe like an Adelaide Oval wicket or something where you come out here and the ball's doing a bit and he walks away with this partnership. It'll be a huge confidence boost for him going forward.
We keep talking about the difference in two teams, and one thing that has really come out is the lower orders performance. The other thing, if you take a look at it, India had the use of that first hour where you expect the pitch to really do well because you've got the roller overnight, and they let go of a wicket at that time. Australia, on the other hand, today have used that 1 hour better than India, and that's the difference.
I think it boils down to the discipline shown by the batsmen. You saw Usman Khawaja, 195 balls on this wicket where we were talking even 200 is difficult for Team India to chase, whereas he's batted for 195 balls.
Yeah.
So that shows that the grit and determination shown by both the batsmen was there. It's not only about the roller effect, but also the application by the batsmen, and I think you have to really commend them for that application.
Okay, we've got another question, and what would be a good total for India to chase? Well, nothing is good at the moment, the way it seems like. Indra Pant wants to know, given the India's historic record in fourth innings, isn't the score already beyond India's reach?
It's a tough one to say. Look, we don't know what's going to happen. Whatever we've seen so far, it's not going to be easy at all. That's the only thing which is for sure. If India come out and chase, and there was a time where they were showing everybody's second innings averages a while ago, the top 5 or 6, it doesn't make for happy reading, including Virat Kohli, who just averages 38. So they definitely got their backs to their wall, because 233, and again, when they were 175 ahead, we said if they have a blistering spell in the morning, we'll be lucky to be chasing 250. Now it's already 233 with now the fact that even Finch is going to bat. Yesterday Finch was not batting. So it's not looking great for India at the moment.
There is a suggestion, it's not a question but a suggestion I can see by Ganesh Joshi on YouTube, and he says maybe India can already start looking at playing this as a draw based on the discipline that Australia is showing. Try and just bat out rather than going for the total.
I think from the Indian batsman point of view, you can't look at the result. You have to play on this wicket. You have to just play on the merit of each ball. If that means that a good ball has to be respected, you have to do that. And if there is an opportunity for you to score, then you should capitalize on that opportunity. Because the biggest mistake which Team India will do is to go into a shell. Because when you're looking to play for a draw, you are negative in your thought process. You're defensive in your thought process. Automatically, your body will slow down. So it's very important to be disciplined, but not defensive. So I think the discipline which Khawaja and Timpen exhibited in the first session is what is the template for Team India to approach their batting. It will be challenging because the wicket may behave differently post-launch, maybe on the 5th day, but it's important to fight it out and not really be defensive in your mindset or your body language.
Okay, I'm going back to the Indian bowlers. Could they have done something different? I'm just looking at the number of bowlers that Hanuma Vihari has bowled. He's not looking like a bowler, and usually, conventionally, you bring on a part-time spinner only, to get that one wicket once in a while. And there you have, this is just second test, day 4, just today itself, and he's bowled almost the same overs as Yadav and Ishant Sharma. Can't do much to the confidence of Yadav and Sharma at the moment.
Look, I think it's what the captain wants, isn't it? At the moment, if he's looking for the break which the bowlers want and Hanuma Vihari is providing it, you saw what he was doing. He was wide outside the off stump.
With 4 bowlers, do you really need to give someone break now? I understand that.
Look, they are fast bowlers, and that's exactly why I said what I said on the first day, that you need a frontline spinner. You can't be thinking just day 1. That was the short-sighted thing which India did by going in. You don't mind 5 bowlers. Ravindra Jadeja could have done the bulk of the bowling even on day 1. And that's where you need to give that kind of responsibility to frontline bowlers who was at one stage number 1 of the ICC test rankings. And if he can't find a place as an all-rounder or as a player when you're picking a side, then that you're seeing that. You're seeing it on day 5. Yes, no excuses for Umesh Yadav, who's just playing this game. So the others have been bowling quite a bit. And what Hanuma Vihari did yesterday was that he was bowling wide outside the off stump to the left-hander. Now he's bowling wide outside the off stump to the right-hander with a field which is set for a cut shot. So that's what it is. They're playing with the patience and hopefully waiting for the bowlers to suddenly turn fresh. And that's all it is.
How could Virat Kohli take the decision of playing 5 bowlers, considering, he went with 6 batsmen in that first test match, won that test match? Could he have changed
No,
that?
I think if Jadeja had to play, it would have been in place of one Seema, which would have been in place of Umesh Yadav, because the game plan and the strategy of the Indian team was very clear, especially on this wicket, keeping in mind that this was more challenging than Adelaide, that they were going to strengthen and bolster their batting lineup. So I didn't see any reason why probably Jadeja would have come ahead of Hanuma Vihari. But if Jadeja would have played or the spinner would have played, it would have been in place of one of the quicks. But I think the reason Hanuma Vihari is bowling the second half of the first session was because they're now waiting for the new ball. So I think with the new ball they want all the 4 bowlers to be fresh and try to use the effectiveness of the new ball. So probably that was the reason why Hanuma Vihari was bowling today in the second half of the first session.
Okay, a quick question on YouTube from Madhu Sharma. It says, as and when India come out to bat, whatever the total, would you want to tinker with the batting lineup, send a pinch hitter on top to just throw down the gauntlet?
Who's the pinch hitter here?
I mean, anyone who could just
Shami?
come up. I would.
Nah, I don't
Pant?
think so. I don't think so. You
Pant
just
could be-
if you've got a target which is within reach, and as Laxman said, you need to have just that positive outlook in the fact that you have to show grit and determination. You need to take, if there are any body blows to be taken, and then just think that you're fighting up, because 2 guys fighting for their places possibly, and the others who are fighting for the pride of India. So it's a question of a collective pride and collective effort right now. When after going 1 up, I think we've got ourselves to blame the way we started from the first innings. That's all I'll say.
Right. Now that we've seen the Australian players do rather well on this track, and we're seeing certain balls stay low, what is it that the Indian batsman can learn from someone like a Khawaja, the way he's applied himself?
He's just leave the balls outside the off stump, and you have to be very strong in your defense whenever the ball is on the stump. So it's about occupying the crease, not looking for playing flashy, flamboyant strokes, because on this wicket, you can't play flamboyant strokes. I forget about a pinch hitter. Even the frontline batsman has to be very strong and should back his defense. And once it happens in that fashion, then invariably the bowling unit will feel restless. They will get restless. They may get panic. They may panic, and in the bargain, they may give you some loose deliveries. But it's all about occupying the crease. Very, very important. And showing the determination is a no-brainer. If you have to save the test or win the test match, you have to focus a lot on application.
Okay, at the moment, what Australia must be thinking is to extend that lead, which they're doing. As I said, 233 is the lead that they've already got. When does the thought of declaring creep in, Damien, or does it at all for the Australian team?
Only if they're still there, getting close to stumps, maybe. But look, I think their goal will be back this session out again. Run rate and scoring rate will depend on their overall goal of how many overs. I think if they're not bowled out today, they'll definitely bowl tonight at some stage. I think that'll be the plan. They'll try and pick their scoring rate up. Maybe they'll just bat normally after lunch for a while, and then if they've got wickets in hand still, they might pick it up before tea. And they'll probably have a target. I think their target would be 300, 350 they'd want to get to feel safe, I suppose, where they can really let their bowlers out and attack and have attacking fields. And the point there is that we're talking about also the Indian bowlers, the Australian bowlers are saying they've got to look at the game plan too of where they're going to bowl. Bowl straight. Don't let the Indian batsmen play and miss, or not play and miss, but let balls go. They've got to attack the stumps and make them play.
Okay, we've already started getting a lot of suggestions from fans. What is a good total for Australia to even think about declaring? Rahul Arya feels 400. You've got Vinayak Khanna thinking 300 plus. That would be good. So plenty of suggestions there. We've got a question now.
I'm happy that Rahul is thinking that there's a flat wicket. That's encouraging for Team India.
Yeah. Okay, we've got a question now on Facebook, and this is from Rajiv Mulchandani. So is this the session where India have lost the match, Kartik?
No, not exactly. It's been we've still not lost the game, firstly, and secondly, this has been a tough session. I wouldn't say that this is the session where India, or if this will be the session where India has lost. It's been a tough going for everyone. So yeah.
Not for you?
No, I think this is not the case because they're still not leaked runs. You know, when you're bowling just 2 runs per over, I think you're in control, but it's just that the opportunity which you could have created to pick up wickets, you were not able to create that opportunity. But having said that, after even losing the toss, you didn't use the freshness of this wicket on the first day. See, in a test match, there will be a lot of important events or crunch moments. If you don't win that crunch moments, you invariably get around 4 or 5 crunch moments in a test match, and whoever wins that crunch moments will eventually get the result in their favor. So I thought on the first innings, giving more than 300 runs is where probably you gave the initiative to Australia. And then when Virat and Ajinkya Rahane had that partnership and not Rahane getting out early on the third day morning, I think that again allowed Australia to come back into the match. So these two were the crunch moments as of now.
Okay, now if you are an Indian fan and finding it very tough to look at the Indian or the match scoreboard because India aren't doing rather well, well then wait till you see our Fab 4 scoreboard for the day. Now this is where our experts get to pick the 4 players that they think will do well on a certain day. Let's quickly tell you the rules of what the game is. As I said, it is sort of a fantasy league that we play with our expert. Each run by the player, 1 point, 50 runs, 10, 100 run, get you a 20-point bonus. Each wicket by the player gets you 20 points, 3 wicket haul 10, 5 wicket 20. Best bowler with the best strike rate for the day gets you again 20 more bonus point. Again, for fielding as well, you get your points. Catches, direct hit, and that give you 10. Joint effort gets you 5 points as far as a catch is concerned. Point a player earns on that particular day. Only experts playing the game will earn points on every day, and then we add that up at the end of the 4th or the 5th day depending on how far the test match goes. As always, we'll start with Murali Kartik. As I said, it hasn't been a great day for our experts either. He had picked Stark, Lyon, Murali Vijay, Virat Kohli. None of them have gotten points. So that stays at 0. Okay, let's see how VVS Laxman is done. For the first time you're tied with Murali Kartik. For the first time you're tied. Well, that's a good start.
Good start. Thank you.
That's a good start. Okay, Damien Martyn. Let's see how he's done. I'm afraid not great either. There you go. It's a tie.
What a start!
What a start to day.
It's been asked.
Of the game.
Sorry, Damien, you were saying?
I said we are the experts of the game, as you can tell.
That's true, but they've done rather well. I mean, you just take a look at how they've performed on the first 3 days. They have been notching up points after the points, but Damien Martyn in fact got a double 100 yesterday. Where is he at the moment? Of course, the leaderboard also doesn't change. It's exactly the same as it was at the end of day 3. 471 points for Damien Martyn. Murali Kartik with 394. VVS Laxman for 280. Just to let you know, VVS Laxman let go of Virat Kohli at the last moment he had selected. So there has been a change there. Just gauging from your pick of 4, you aren't expecting India to do.
No, I just want to do something different to these two guys. Both of them have picked Virat. So if I have to get close to Kartik at least, I'm not sure
whether... He has to get to first 281. He hasn't gone beyond 281. 281 and beyond.
And beyond. Yeah, but so something different.
Okay, Damien, sorry, you wanted to say something.
Can I change as well? I would have changed because Laxman did last night. Right?
I'll put your request to...
So you can't take Usman Khawaja now.
No. So we've just got confirmation from our selection panel which looks into this, and they are of the opinion you can't change it while the play is on. VVS did it before a ball was bowled on day 4, which is allowed.
The selection panel, the communication is very important. Did they send a mail to Damien Martyn?
Hasn't yielded him anything though. All the brainstorming hasn't yielded him any points.
That's true. I didn't want to say that. But as far as communication is concerned, they've let me know the secretary of the board.
You're the chairman, is it?
No,
secretary of the board.
The convener of the meeting has to let you know what the plan is. Okay, so no points then for our expert, but we still have 2 more sessions to go. Let's see how they perform. That's all that we have for you at the moment. You were watching ESPN Cricinfo Match Day, brought to you by Maruti Suzuki.